YouTube vinyl community, Beach Boys fans, random people on the internet. Hey, my name's Giggens, and today we're going to be talking about the Beach Boys' unofficial release, Live in Japan '66, released on Rox Vox Records as a limited edition 180 gram colored vinyl with a full color insert. This is a unofficial release that I have been eyeing for a few years now, and it's popped up here and there. And the reason why I wasn't really so jumping on getting it was because it's a radio recording. So it's not the best sounding thing in the world, but as a historical document, it's pretty damn cool. So if you're familiar with like the BBC stuff from the Beatles, or a lot of other bands where they recorded stuff for BBC radio, some of that stuff on those sets is really bad quality. It was actually like someone holding a microphone to the radio as it happened live. So some of that stuff's not the best, but it's fascinating to listen to hear them as a live group at that time. That's what this is. I picked this up recently at a record show, so it was kind of cool just to see it in person. I love the cover. I think the cover is so cool. Great shot of the guys on stage. You got Denny covered up by a sticker up there. I haven't taken the plastic off. I opened it, but I haven't taken the plastic off. I probably will. Here's the back cover. So I wanted to hear this for a number of reasons. One, because I collect everything that says the Beach Boys on it. But two, this was during when Brian was making Pet Sounds. So it was interesting to me to look at the track list here and think, wow, here's the Beach Boys out there playing Papa Ooh Mau Mau, Hawaii, and then some weird stuff like You Gotta Hide Your Love Away, and some new stuff like California Girls and Barbara Ann, which had just come out around as a single around this time. Meanwhile, back home, Brian's making Pet Sounds, which is crazy to think about the juxtaposition of this world where here's Mike singing Monster Mash, and here's Brian writing Let's Go Away for a While. I mean, the whole thing is mind-blowing. They must have come back and heard Brian's stuff and been like, what the hell is this? We can't go out there and play Caroline No and then play Little Honda after that. This isn't going to work, man. But they were blown away. They eventually loved it. But this was pretty cool. So the track listing on this thing, I think, is pretty, of its time. Nothing too crazy on here. Fun, fun, fun. Little Honda. They do that medley of Little Deuce Coupe, Shutdown, Surfing USA, Surfer Girl, Papa Ooh Mau Mau, Hawaii, and then You Gotta Hide Your Love Away with Denny singing it, which is an absolutely fantastic performance. Being that it's still kind of a crummy recording quality, that version is so interesting because it's this high energy, high paced show, and here comes Denny coming down the stage singing this song, and it's just a nice, quiet, beautiful rendition. It kind of stopped me in my tracks. I wasn't ready for that. I didn't know I was going to really enjoy it as much as I did. I like it on the Party album and stuff, but hearing them do this live in front of an audience with as much tender sweetness and soul expressing power that he was known for with his performances this early. I didn't realize he had it in him this early with live stuff. Well, years before You Are So Beautiful to Me, years before Forever and Only With You and all that stuff where he was really pouring his heart out, to hear him associate with a song, understand the lyrics, and just express himself that way, that's worth it alone. To find this album, to hear that version, that's worth it alone. Side 2 is the Monster Mash Help Me Rhonda, which fairly new at this time. California Girls, pretty new. Barbara Ann, which had just released as a single, and I think Mike even mentions that at one point. He's like, hey, this is coming out pretty soon in the States, or it had just come out, something like that. I Get Around, classic, and then Johnny Be Good to wrap it up. What's even interesting about this, though, is that there's an interview at the very end, which is just them hanging out and chatting, talking about all kinds of stuff, talking about the culture of being in Japan, talking about meeting different people, experiencing life, seeing what it's like, after having just seen it on movies or newsreels or whatever. It must have been pretty far out to go there. So, as promised, the inside does have an insert, which is actually a quote from the NME, from New Musical Express in February of '66, which is pretty cool. So, a couple of nice pictures of the guys, which I think that top one's actually a bit later. I think this one's actually around the time of Friends, but I could be wrong. Maybe that was around '66. It's been a while since I've seen that picture, but Yeah, I'm not going to read the whole thing to you, but it was interesting just to kind of get a real brief glimpse into the Beach Boys touring life at that point. Um, I'll read this little quote here. Mike Love strolled into the mirrored room, muttering, "I have to cut it off." "What?" Carl questioned. As he rubbed his furry chin, he answered, "My beard. They said it wouldn't look good on TV. Have you ever seen a golden beard? I probably have the only one in the world. They're making me cut it off." He looked sadly into the mirror as he switched on his electric razor. So that was the end of Mike's beard at that point. Um, the vinyl. I am in love with the color of this thing and the labeling, the look, the production of this thing, the aesthetic. Very well done. But check out this blue. I'm not sure if it's going to show too well on here, but that is a rich, deep blue. As Bowie would say, blue, blue, electric blue. It's very cool. But take a look at that label. Very cool label, really well done. You know, using that Pet Sounds font. But I love that blue. Cannot get enough of that. It looks really, really cool. So yeah, just a brief video about this thing. Nothing too much to say about it beyond that it exists and it's kind of cool. You know, there's a ton of these CDs out there on Amazon, which this also exists on, is on CD as well, of these radio broadcasts. So there's some stuff from the early 70s. I think there's some stuff from the later 60s. So, you know, for being an unofficial release, as a historical document, it's fascinating. It's worth it. It's very fun to hear them. And a few songs in, you get used to the feeling of like, okay, this is just how it's going to sound. I get it. I'm cool. This is rocking and rolling. It's a lot of fun. If you're into the Beatles BBC CDs, you'd be really into this. So, as a historical document, yeah, I would totally give this thing like a 9 or a 10. It's just fun to hear them at this point in their lives. It's also just fun to hear the transition of what was going to happen next and having to learn these new songs. Like, by the end of this year, they were playing Good Vibrations live. So, to start this year by playing Little Honda and Papa Oo Mau Mau in Hawaii, then 6 months from now, 8 months, 9 months, 10 months from now, learning Good Vibrations and going out there and playing it for the first time, what a growth. What a transition. Fascinating. So yeah, nothing too crazy to talk about this thing. I'll read the little blip on the back here. As 1966 got underway, Brian Wilson was crafting Pet Sounds in Los Angeles while his bandmates continued to tour. Mike Love, Al Jardine, Dennis Wilson, Carl Wilson, and Bruce Johnson started the year by flying to Japan, where they toured from January 7th to January 23rd. It's a long tour in Japan, wow. The superb performance from Sankai Hall, Osaka, Japan, on 13th January 1966, broadcast on NHK Radio, finds them on excellent form as they tackle a cross-section of their most popular material to date, both originals and covers. It's presented here together with background notes and images and a bonus rare interview. So, there you go. That's Rox Vox, the Beach Boys live in Japan, 66. Just a quick little video to talk about this thing. Let me know what you think. Have you heard this thing? What are your thoughts on it? Tell me what you think about You Gotta Hide Your Love Away. That's easily one of my favorite versions of this song that I've heard someone do, beyond the Beatles, of course, but hearing Denny do it with the soul and expression in his voice, fascinating. Worth the ticket, worth the price of admission alone, as they say. So that's it. My name is Giggens. This has been Album Reviews of the Beach Boys, live in Japan, 66. And yeah, let's talk about it in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.